Sure it's doing it in the chat. Perfect. Okay. Right, so what we're actually going to run through today is what exactly is a light gate and how do they work. We're going to take everything right back to basics. So if you've got any queries about how these things actually take the measurement, we're going to run through all that for you today. We're going to go through the types of Pasco light gate. So Pasco have got 3 different models, which I'm going to tell you all about. And then we're going to run through how to do the CPACs, those required practicals with the light gates with Pasco equipment. Let's just make sure that those people were admitted. Yeah, I think they were. Thanks, guys. Okay, so terminology. So in the UK, we call these things light gates. In the US, they're called photo gates. Photo essentially means photon and light. It's the same thing. And also they're sometimes called timing gates. So it does sound quite confusing, but all of these terms refer to exactly the same piece of equipment. Thanks for letting these people in, guys. It means that I don't have to keep stopping and starting. So yeah, any of this kind of terminology all refers to the same piece of equipment, just a simple light gate. So what exactly is a light gate? Well, it's essentially a timing device, a little bit like a stopwatch, but instead of someone pressing like start and stop on the actual stopwatch, it's triggered by like the beam state, so whether the beam is on or off, whether the beam is intact or whether it's been broken. And the kind of light that the light gates work with is infrared. So maybe that's where the confusion comes from, because you can't actually see that beam of light in the gate at the time as when you're using it. So it's kind of analogous to this film called Entrapment. Now, this is a rehash of a presentation that I gave to the rest of our sales reps a couple of years ago. And I pulled this slide up and no one had seen this film. And it kind of fell on deaf ears. I thought this was a really popular film. It's got like Sean Connery in and Catherine Zeta-Jones. But the basics is that you've got these like lasers protecting this shiny object, this shiny expensive object. And when Catherine Zeta-Jones moves around, if she breaks one of those beams, then it basically triggers it. So that's essentially how a light gate works. It just knows if that beam's been broken or whether it's still intact. So hopefully you guys have seen this film. I think it's really popular. I don't quite understand how that happened. Okay, so how do light gates actually work? So at the top here, well, it's not really fit my slide very well, has it? We've got a light gate and the light beam and our projectile that's going to go through the gate. And then underneath, I've just drawn like a diagram of what that light gate is actually measuring. So the basic measurement it's taking will be voltage, but essentially that's the same as light level. That's what it's going to be reading. And then on the x-axis, we've got time. So as our projectile moves towards the gate but doesn't actually cut the beam, we are going to see just a flat nominal level of voltage or light level. And then as our projectile actually moves through the beam and breaks it, it's going to go straight down to 0 and remain 0 for the whole time that our projectile's blocking the beam. And then as it moves back out of the way, we're going to go back up to that nominal level. And it's just going to be where it was before with the light level. So what does this graph actually tell us? Well, for that time that it's the voltage or the light level is 0, that's going to give us the time in the gate. So this will be like the person pressing like start on the stopwatch and someone pressing stop on the stopwatch. So that's where that measurement comes from. Now, obviously, because this is a machine taking that measurement and not a person, it removes like the human reaction time, it removes human anticipation time. So this means that light gates will give you that really nice kind of accurate measurement of a timing event. So hopefully that kind of explains exactly what the light gate's doing. And even though you can't see that beam being broken and unbroken, hopefully that's kind of explained it a bit better. So in Sparkvue, what can the light gates actually measure? So for one light gate, no matter which light gate you're using, it can see the time in the gate, so the time that that thing's been in the gate, and it can also pull out things such as speed or velocity, and also acceleration. So how does it do that? Okay, so again, this was an internal presentation. So this chap here is John Wayne, not the cowboy John Wayne, but Pasco's John Wayne. He is the head of global sales at Pasco. So he was relevant to the presentation then, and he still is for now, so we've kept him in here. But if you've ever been to any of our exhibitions at BET, for example, at the I think it's the Excel Arena in London, you definitely will have met this man. Lovely, lovely chap, and I'm sure he won't mind me using his face in this presentation. But what we're going to do is we're going to like cheat derive an equation just by looking at some units here. So let's say, for example, John Wayne is traveling in this very fancy car at 30 mph. So looking at these units here, we've got mph, which stands for miles per hour, right? So then if we were to like assign a mathematical symbol to the word per, whether it be like plus, minus, times, or divide, it would be divide. So mph equals miles divided by hours. And we know that miles is a unit of distance, and we know that hours are a unit of time. So we get to the very well-known equation of speed equals distance over time. So hopefully you guys will have come across this before. It's on all the curriculums, and I've got here just by doing a really nice simple trick, just using units to kind of derive an equation. So if you don't get your students to do things like this now, I definitely would recommend that you teach them how to do this. It's kind of saved my bacon in a lot of exams, just kind of like working back from units to get to the equation. So it's just a nice little handy trick that physicists do all the time. So that is how light gates work out speed. Sorry, that's how we derive the equation for speed. So this is the equation that we've got. Speed equals distance over time. So speed is what we want to find, because we know that's what the light gate can output. And we get that time from the basic voltage time graph that the light gate produces. So we've got time, we want to work out speed, so the only thing that we're missing now is distance. And to get that measurement, we look at the projectile that goes through the gate. So the distance is just the length of the thing that's passing through the gate. So now we've got everything that we need to work out speed. So that's how we get there. And then the last thing that the light gates can work out is acceleration. And we get that just using this simple Suvat equation here. So this is where acceleration equals the final velocity minus the initial velocity over the time between the gates. So to use this one, we need two light gates. So V is the speed in gate 2, the last light gate that it passes through, and U is the speed in gate 1, the first one that it goes through. So that covers all the measurements that the light gate can take. So hopefully that will have kind of cleared up everything to do with light gates. Okay, so why choose Pasco light gates? Now I know these guys aren't the most cheapest on the market. I mean, you can pick up a really simple light gate for about 10 or 15 quid. So these are slightly higher than that. But there's a very good reason for that. So Pasco are obviously a very well-known brand, a very well-known make. They haven't got their amazing reputation by putting out awful kit. So when you buy Pasco, you are investing for the future. It does come with a free 5-year warranty. All of the Pasco lines do. So you know that you are investing for the future. All the different models work together. So this is our oldest model that's been around for ages. And then I think this is our newest one, our wireless smart gate. This has been around for about a year now. But if you wanted to use this with this, then absolutely you can do. Pasco aren't going to bring out any new kit that isn't compatible with the older stuff. So, I mean, you're never going to get a visit from a Pasco rep where they turn up and say all of this kit is redundant now. That's just not going to happen if you invest in Pasco. It's one of the promises that they make to their customers. So yeah, you don't have to worry about spending a lot of money because it is going to last you a long time. They are easy to align. Let me just show you how it works. Someone got a question? No, I'm gonna mute again. Can I? Oh, I think we've gone, it's fine. Okay, so they're easy to align. So I've just turned this one on. And then if I need to see my camera for this, hang on. If I just show you here, if I block the beam, you should see that LED come on here. So this is really useful. So if sometimes it kind of looks like projectiles going through the gate, but it's just kind of missing it ever so slightly. So if you are having any alignment issues, that's really helpful in determining whether your experiment is actually set up right or not. So the beams are kind of coming out of here, these two little holes here. I'll go through that in slightly more detail in a minute. You can extract exact timing events, which I've just told you about. And you can fully configure your own timing modes in Capstone. If we've got time to do that today, I'll quickly run through that with you so you can see how it works. But in Capstone, there's a little bit more flexibility with what you can pull out. So it can give you things like beam status, stuff like that. So literally just like a binary digital readout, whether the beam's on or off with a value of 1 or 0. So that can be really helpful. But yeah, in terms of how well these light gates perform, they do sell into university departments. Steve Fern, who I was just talking to at the beginning, I'm pretty sure you've got some of these, Steve, as a lot of other university departments do. So it kind of just shows the reliability of the kit and how good it is. But that doesn't mean to say it's too good for schools. Absolutely not. It does exactly the same thing that you guys need it to do. So yeah, don't worry about that. Right, okay, so let's get started with Sparkvue. If I come to here, just shut this down. Let me talk you through the different types of gates as well while we're here. If I come to my Internet Explorer, show you this one. So as I said before, this is Pasco's oldest model of photo gate head. It's probably the most prolific one that we see out there in the market. So if you have got Pasco light gates, it's probably very likely you've got these ones. So again, they do come with that little status LED up at the top here. So this will illuminate red when that beam's broken. It's the most simple of the light gates that Pasco do offer. So this is just one beam. Let me just check that you can see my camera. So again, it just comes out of that little hole there, and that's where the beam placement is. At the back, you'll see it's got this kind of like Ethernet style port here. So the wire that comes with it is one of these. Oh, tangled mess. They are quite long, these wires, but I guess it gives you a bit more flexibility with in terms of having it as a good distance away from your PC if you needed it to be. So this comes with like an Ethernet style connector, which just clips into the photo gate head here. And then what's on the other end of here is this big stereo phone plug. So this doesn't look like it's going to fit into a normal Pasco interface. It will fit into some of the bigger ones like the 550 and the 850. They are relatively expensive in terms of interfaces. So most people opt for something like this, which is called the AirLink. But as you can see, that receptacle in there is not going to fit one of these. This is like a DIN connector. So we need something to go in between these so that it'll fit in there. So for that, if you wanted to use two photo gate heads, this type of light gate together, you'd need something called this digital adapter. So this will accept the stereo phone plug in here, and then this is what connects into the AirLink. So a bit of a rigmarole, but nothing too complicated. And then also, if you wanted to, like I say, this does actually work with our other types of light gates. So we've got this one, the newest one, which is this, and then in between we've got the black wireless smart gate. Now I don't have one of those at home. I thought I did, but I don't. But it's essentially exactly the same as this, but it comes with a wire. So both the smart gate. Oh,
can I just ask you to tag yourself on the screen so that we can see you? And at the moment, you're about a centimetre wide, and we can't see what you're actually.
Ooh, can everyone see me better now? So I've spotlighted me.
Yes, that's better. Thanks, Nicola.
Sorry about that, guys. I should have done that at the beginning. I think also if you like just double click the picture of me, it should come up in big. I think that's how it works. We've got like a really free version of Teams, and I know not all versions of Teams are the same. Like my partner's working upstairs and his screen looks entirely different to mine, so it's a bit difficult to yeah, give troubleshooting with Teams, but there we go. Anyway, so yes, coming back to this, we've got the stereophone plug on the end of my photogate head, and this is compatible with the SmartGate and the wireless SmartGate. So all you've got to do is just click that in there, just to make clear, and there we go. So you've got two light gates here now, just daisy chained together by that cable. Obviously, if you are thinking about going wireless with these ones, then it might seem a little bit redundant to introduce that wire. But say, for example, if you've got all of these and you want to get something a bit more modern, what that means is that you don't necessarily have to buy like tons of these in one go. If you want to do that gradually, you could. It will give you that option to do that. I think these things are about 85 quid, so each. So they're not super cheap. But like I say, it is an investment for the future. So looking at the wireless SmartGate in more detail, this is going to be exactly the same as the black SmartGate that we've got out as well. The features are exactly the same. So as I talk through these, it's going to be exactly the same for the black SmartGate. Let me just show you a picture of that one, so you know which one I'm talking about, just in case anyone's got that one. Oh, not that one. Oh, this one. So as you can see, it looks exactly the same as this white one, but it does come with with a wire on it. I've got a wire shit here. So the wire that this one comes with is one of our silvery grey wires. Let's get this rubber band off here. So if you do have a black wireless, a black SmartGate, you will have like this DIN lead to connect into the back of it. And then that comes with one of these passport type terminals wires. So this can just click directly into that link here. So you don't need one of these digital adapters for the black SmartGate. Okay, so in terms of features for this thing, let me just come back to here so I can see the camera. This has actually got two beams within the one gate. So you can see it's got like two little holes here. So we've got two light beams coming out of here. And that's really helpful because it will give you a really accurate reading for speed and velocity with the two gates. We've also got that auxiliary port at the back here, which you can daisy chain an old photogate head into if you wanted to. And we have got this little thing here, which is known as a laser switch. So it looks like a little bit like a crosshair, if you can see that. So what that means is that if you've got any old laser lying around, whether it's a really fancy laser or just a little laser pen, what you can do is you can keep that laser pen stable just by clamping it in something, shine it directly at that target, and you can have a light gate of a user-defined width. So that can be as wide as you want it to be. So if you've got something like a really large projectile in your classroom or in your lab, you'll be able to use this for that. Or again, if you wanted to use it for a running race, or even like the timing of an actual real car, you could do it for that as well. Obviously, if you are using a laser, just be careful with it. Make sure you're not shining it at eye level, and make sure that it's pointed like towards a wall, for example, and not towards your classroom, just to make sure you're being super safe with it. And then the last thing that this can do is we've got a little slot down here, and for that you can use ticker tape or timing tape. So that's like that like periodic repeat pattern tape, which is like clear then dark. So I've got like a picket fence here, so it's essentially just like a tape version of this, and that will give you like a velocity profile as that draws through that little hole there. So I don't think ticker tape's really used anymore, but some teachers still want to use it. It's like a really nice way of, like I say, of getting that velocity profile rather than just one reading for velocity. So at least it gives you the option to do that if you wanted to. So you can see that with this thing and with the black smart gate, it's far much more than just like a normal light gate. It offers you a lot more flexibility than this one. And to be honest, by the time you've podded out for the interface and the digital adapter for these, if you haven't got light gates at the moment, I'd recommend that you just go with this because it'll be the more affordable option for you, and you can do more with it. So connecting this to a PC, you don't need any sort of interface. It just goes by Bluetooth. It's got a little Bluetooth radio in there, so it can connect direct to your PC or direct to a tablet using Sparkvue. So yeah, this is the most affordable option to go for. Right then, I think that's everything that I've got to say about the light gates themselves. So let's have a look at them in action. Okay, so if we do G/34 first, let me get my other camera set up. Bear with me 1 second. Plug it in. I've had a bit of a nightmare with technology this morning. Everything's not working for me. Teams, I need to change my camera. Lovely. Shall I use that one for this one, or shall I use... Yeah, let's actually use this one for this. I'll turn over to the other one when we do the track. Right, so what I've got here is I've just attached a smart gate to this little retort stand. This is a Pasco stand because it's the only one I had at home. It's called the photo gate accessory. Sorry, the accessory photo gate. It's essentially just this metal stand that you can plonk a light gate on. So with this, it just lets you suspend your light gate in any orientation, so the light gate can rotate about this axis. It just lets you suspend it wherever you want it to be. You can see a massive picture of how fat I am now. We've not got long left now, guys, so this is why I wanted to do a webinar today, just because I think in terms of working days, I've actually only got about 15 left now. So I'm getting my office bin, which might seem quite peculiar, but I'm going to put it underneath where I'm going to drop my picket fence through, just so it's got a cushioned landing. I'm not actually trying to put it in the bin, but it's just the best thing that I could find to hand. So my bin's got a couple of tea towels in the bottom just to give it that cushioned landing. So the other thing that I've got is this picket fence that I just showed you. So this is just a piece of plastic with like clear sections and dark sections on it. And I'm going to drop this like vertically through the gate like this, and then it's going to give me a reading for G, the acceleration due to gravity. So let me just come to my notes, which I'm going to send you all afterwards. They're not finished yet. Like I say, I had a bit of a technical glitch this morning, so I was going to finish them. So this is essentially the setup that I've got now. We've got my light gate in the stand, and I'm going to drop this picket fence through, just in case my video is not quite clear enough for you. So what I need to do is I need to connect my light gate to the PC. So I'm just going to turn it on using the power button. And now my LED on my unit is flashing red, showing that it's on and ready to pair. So I'm going to click sensor data. And then it should look for any Pasco devices in the room which are turned on. And then it's going to give me this unique ID code here, which matches the one on my unit. So I'm going to click on it just to connect. Oh dear. So I'm using a slightly, oh dear, I'm using a slightly older version of Windows, so I've got to use a dongle to get my Bluetooth good enough. Let's try again. Let's plug the dongle in again. Okay, so it's on. Bingo, it just needed resetting. Right, so I need to set it up for using this picket fence. So what it can see is it can see the wireless smart gate, but I need to configure the sensor now to say what I'm actually going to be using the smart gate for. So we come up to this little cog here. I'm going to press it. Oh, let me just show you this first. I think this is something that you guys need to turn on every time you come into Sparkvue. So you come up to this little hamburger in the top left, the main menu, and you click choose language. And then it says enable UK timing modes here. So this is purely for the light gates. It's just something like a little part of the software that we wrote with Pasco, just to make it a bit more easier for UK people, because there was a massive demand for just like the readout of acceleration, not just VU and T. People wanted the direct readout of acceleration, and that's something that Pasco didn't offer previously. So it's something that we wrote into the software probably about 2 or 3 years ago now. So again, just to note, this is like active developing software. So if there's something that you don't like about the software, or if there's something that you wish the software did that it doesn't do at the moment, please do let us know, because we can make changes to it. So all you need to do is just make sure that UK timing modes are enabled just by pressing on. I think, to be fair, if you are in the UK, I think they've set this now to being on as standard, but just make sure it definitely is, just to be sure. So we are still connected to the smart gate, so all we need to do is just come to this little configure sensor, and this is where the UK timing modes appear. So if that wasn't enabled, then you wouldn't be able to see these things. So this isn't actually important for the experiment we're going to do now, but it's important for the F equals MA one we're going to look at just in a minute. So we've got the smart gate only. The smart gate and auxiliary port would be if we were plugging this thing in there, but we're not. And then the auxiliary port only would be if we were just looking at that photo gate head. But we just want to come into smart gate only. And then we want photo gate and picket fence, because I'm going to be using this thing, photo gate, American terminology, and the picket fence. So I'm going to click here and then press OK. And then it asks me for the flag spacing. So what exactly is the flag spacing? I have drawn you a nice little diagram in here showing that flag spacing is the total combined length of a clear section and a black section. So where's my ruler? I must have been, oh, I thought I'd been tidy and put it away. Maybe I haven't. Do you know, I've got 2 rulers. And I can't find, oh, here we go. It's hiding, it's transparent, that's why I can't see it. I'm just about to say I can't see either of them. Right, so the measurement of this is 5 centimeters, so 0.05 meters. Perfect. And I'm going to press OK. So these are the things that it can give me for this setting: position, velocity, and acceleration. I'm just going to click them all, just so that we can call up that reading if we want to. And then I am going to click on graph. So this is going to give me 3 different graphs, which I don't really want, so I'm just going to pull up a new page just by clicking this icon up here. I'm going to have a singular display, and I want a graph, and I want this to be velocity on the y-axis against time on the x. So what do I actually want to do? As I'm going to drop this through here, what we're going to get is like a velocity profile against time. So we're going to get 1 reading per black section on here. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take the linear fit of that data, and that is going to ping out a value for acceleration. So this is like a way of doing it if you wanted to introduce like rates of change and the differential relationship between velocity and acceleration. It's kind of like a nice way to introduce that. And obviously this is the most affordable way of doing this experiment, because you only have to have the 1 light gate. It doesn't have to be a smart gate. It could be like a photo gate head if these are the ones you've already got. So yeah, it can be any of the Pasco light gates. Right, so if I click start, and then what I want to do is I want to drop this as level as I possibly can without trying to twist it or rotate it or tilt it. So let's have a go. And it needs to land in my cushion bin, hopefully. Ooh. Right, then I'm going to press stop. So we get a nice straight line, which is what we're hoping for. And then all I'm going to do is I want to zoom in on that particular bit of data. So I'm going to press this button here, this scale to fit button. And it's going to auto scale for us. I'm just going to drag my legend out of the way. So that looks nice and straight. Fantastic. And then I'm going to click my linear fit button here. And we know that G should be 9.81. So let's hope it gives us something sensible. Oh, 9.64. That's nice. So you'll see that gives me the oh, someone's waiting. They've missed the best bit. I think they're in. Yes, thank you for admitting them. Thank you very much. So, like I say, this is like a really nice way of showing how we get acceleration from a velocity profile. They'll be able to see that this is a linear relationship as well, so they can tell that the acceleration due to gravity is a constant. Sorry, it's not going to change. So yeah, the value for m, our y equals mx plus b, is the value for g, and we get some nice fit values here. So obviously I only did that once, and it's given me a pretty perfect result, but obviously you can do that a few times to get a good error on it. So obviously this depends on the picket fence falling through the gate perfectly vertically. If it goes through a slightly skewed angle, then that flag spacing isn't going to be 5 centimeters anymore. It's going to be like the cos of it. So just be wary of that. That's going to be one of the errors in your measurement. And obviously if it tilts like this as well, it's going to mess it up. So just try and drop it as cleanly as you possibly can. So this is a nice, cheap way of doing G by freefall. I don't think that was typically adopted in the classroom, so that's why I wanted to show you it this way. And then in the way that it's suggested to do it in the CPAC, so on the specification, I think they prefer, well, they don't. It's kind of a funny one, isn't it, with the required practicals? They give you an example of a way that you can do it, but there's nothing to say you have to do it that way. You just have to be aware of doing it that way. So I mean, it's completely up to you in how exactly you want to carry out that practical. So yeah, if you are new to light gates and you only wanted to buy a few at a time, then that would give you like a way into still doing the practical just with a reduced amount of light gates. Okay, so let's do it the way that it suggests that you should in the CPAC. So we are going to want to introduce another light gate into the system. So I'm going to come back to Sparkvue. I'm going to start a new experiment. Come back to sensor data. So we've still got this one connected, and then I also want to connect this one. So I'm just going to turn this one on, and you'll see that the status LED is blinking red, showing that it's on and ready to pair. Hopefully this one will pair straight away. Bingo. So now my status LED is green, and we are good to go. So I need to configure this second smart gate. So I'm going to come to, well, that one still be configured like that. What I might do, guys, is actually come out of here just because I'm worried that it might still be configured to do the photo gate, and I don't want it to be. So let's start again. I want to connect to both of these. And I also need to make sure maybe it's a problem with this gate, maybe it needs an update. So yeah, Pasco do frequently push out software and hardware updates. So if you come to, oh dear, if you come to plug in your sensor and it says it requires an update, definitely do it. This might be what the problem is here. Sometimes it works a bit better if you connect it by USB. I'll have to turn it off and on again. Oh, it's very cross at me, isn't it? There we go. Right, so now we're both on and ready to pair. So I want to do 2 light gates and a single interrupt card. So what we're going to do now, guys, let me just show you. G by freefall the other way, which is going to be this. So I'm going to put 2 light gates on a stand and I'm going to drop a ball through it. So I've got one of Ada's, one of my daughter's balls here. A wooden ball. It's absolutely massive. I wouldn't recommend using a ball this big, but it's the best thing that I've got to hand. If you are going to do this in the classroom, I recommend that you get like a Perspex tube and align that with the beams on the gate, and then you can drop the ball through it and make sure that the ball passes through the beam at that like widest point. Because when I'm going to do it, it could pass through at any point. So I'm not expecting the best value of G for this experiment, but we'll muddle through and I'll show you how to do it. So I want 2 light gates and a single interrupt card. So the single interrupt card is just basically means that I'm passing one thing through the gate. A double interrupt card would be if I was passing 2 things through a gate. So for example, if it was just that top section of this picket fence, a double interrupt card, that's what that would be. Okay, so 2 light gates and a single interrupt card, and then press OK. And this is all the things it's going to bring out for me: time, speed, velocity, acceleration, and the measurement time from A to B. And then the length of the card, or the length of my ball, I did measure it before, but I can't remember, is about 4.6-ish centimetres. 0.046. Okay. Is everyone in? Yes? No? Here we go. So I'm just going to tick all these again, just so that we can see them all. And then I'm going to go to a digits display. So this has got acceleration from A to B, velocity at A, velocity at B, and time from A to B. So just to work out which gate is A and which gate is B, I'm just going to hit start and then just wag my finger through one of the gates and see if that beam comes on. So this is gate B, so this one needs to be at the bottom. Trust me to pair them the wrong way around. So I'm just going to slip this on here. Let me just make sure you guys can see what I'm doing. Yeah, I think so. Let me just put this down a bit further. So I'm going to put this at the bottom. So the gates come with this like tiny screw on here, and then this little adapter just lets it slip over the retort stand. And then I'm going to clonk this up here. Hold this over the edge of the desk. And I want to make sure that these two are aligned. I'll put my bin under there again, why not? Save a big crashing sound. All right, get these as aligned as I can. In there. Right, and then I've got my ball, and all I'm going to do is just drop it through roughly where I think the gates are. So let me come back to Sparkvue. Stop that. I'm going to delete all of the data that we've taken so far because it's nonsense. I think my massive tummy just touched this again, so I'm just going to realign them. That'll do. Now, when I practiced this earlier, I managed to not hit any of the gates doing this. But knowing my luck, I'm going to hit one of them now. Right, so without touching it, let me press start. Right. Ooh. Hey, well, 16, that's not quite right, is it? Let's start again. Press start. .79. I don't know what happened before. Maybe it caught part of me when it was taking that reading. So yeah, with this, it's giving you the exact readout for acceleration here. But if you didn't want to use that, if you wanted to make your students work out manually, you'd just use these 3 values here for what's this? This would be the start speed U. This would be the final speed V, and this would be your time between the gates. Let's just do it one more time, see if I can get it any more accurate than 8.8. 8.92, which isn't great, but like I say, the problem with this thing is that I'm assuming that I'm passing this ball through the gates at this widest point of the ball, and obviously that's kind of probably a slim probability, isn't it? It could be passing through at any of these widths. So that's where the bulk of my error is coming from. So like I said before, if you do have that Perspex tube, remember these gates can see through Perspex. So if I just put like this clear part through the beam, you see it's not going to trigger it. So you can use a plastic tube here just to make sure that the ball is definitely aligned in that region, and that'll make this value of G much more accurate than what I'm doing here with the ball, and just praying to God that it's going to pass through on the widest point. Let me try one more time. Oh, I think I missed that bottom one then. Let's try again. So yeah, I think it's passing through the top one all right, and then when it gets to the bottom one, it's getting really skewy, and that's why it's giving me a really off result for that. Yeah, it looks like 9's about the best that I'm going to get for that. Because obviously if it's passing through that bottom gate just on that really narrow point here, and it thinks that point is like 4 centimeters, it's going to think it's traveling through that gate really, really quickly. So that's why it's giving me silly answers like 20. When it should be 9. I've not broken physics, guys. It definitely should be 9. Okay, so if you didn't want all of these displayed at the same time, you can have different types of displays. So for example, if you just wanted it to read out acceleration and for it to be as simple as possible without having to do any maths, then you could just get a single digits display and get it to display acceleration from A to B. Or if you wanted your students to work it out using A equals V minus U over T, you could have like a 3-unit display here, and then assign each of these as digits, and then have like velocity at A, velocity at B, and time from A to B. And then they just have to work out that value for acceleration in the notebooks. And that's the best way of doing it. I mean, you can have it in a table. Let me show you what a table looks like, just so you've seen it. Now, the only problem with doing it in a table is that you get these like staggered results. And the reason why that happens is that every data point that these sensors take are time stamped. So there's no way of getting around that. So say, for example, if you wanted each of these like in a row for each run, the software can't do that automatically. You could do that with like manual data entry if you wanted to display a nice table and print it off, for example, in Sparkvue. But in terms of getting that data automatically, it just wouldn't do that for you in Sparkvue, unfortunately. So I definitely recommend sticking to these and then just running that calculation at the time. Sorry guys, I'm really struggling with this cold. Right, okay, so that's G by freefall in entirety. So moving on to the other one, let's turn these off. So I've shown you this with the wireless smart gates. So for the next one, I'm just going to plug in our photogate heads, just so you've seen those guys in action. Let me switch cameras now to the other one. I always run over in these things, don't I? I've got too much to say, obviously. Right, we're live over here. Perfect. Right, so let me get my big track. So this is probably one of Pasco's most popular pieces of equipment. So this is Pasco's 1.2 meter aluminium track. It's a lovely dynamics track. If you are thinking about getting dynamics tracks, definitely do consider us. If you want to borrow one of these, just let us know and we can ship one out to you. I did lend this out to a customer and it's come back with some bits missing, unfortunately. So I would have another, I've got an end stop on this end. These end stops prevent the carts from running off the end of the track. I'm missing a couple of screws for the other one, and so that's why there isn't one over here. But typically you want to get end stops, and you want to get what are they called, track feet as well. So the track feet slot in as well under here, and they've got like leveling feet. So if you're in a room that isn't perfectly level, or if it's on a desk that isn't perfectly level, you'll be able to adjust that slightly just to get that perfectly level surface. The track also comes with this nice yellow tape measure, so you can see really easily just how far apart you've got your light gates. And then here I've got these two little holders which I'm going to screw the light gates to. So as I said before, I'm going to be using these older black photogate heads. So these come with a little screw on the side. I'm just going to unscrew the screw. It's a very long screw. And then plonk this in here. Screw it on. Do exactly the same for the other one. So now you can see that I've got wires all over the place. So if you like a nice clutter-free, tidy lab space, then the wireless light gates might be the option for you. Tighten that up. Then I need another cable for this one. I'm going to plug it in. And then I've got these two stereo phone plugs that I'm then going to tether into my digital adapter. So I'm going to plug this one into port 1. Hopefully that'll be the gate A. And this one into port 2. And then I'm going to plonk all of these into that air link here. So that's my gates, my digital adapter, and my interface, my air link interface. And then I'm going to turn this thing on. I come to here. I'm going to close that down because I've disconnected those smart gates and I don't want it to get upset at me. I'll show you the diagram for this. I am going to use a smart cart over here. These things are expensive. We went through this in the last webinar that we did. They are absolutely loaded with sensors, which is why they cost so much. These things are about, I think it's about 185, 200 quid each. So a lot of schools have these just for demo purposes, and then if you've got a little bit more money, they have these as their standard dynamics trolleys. If you don't have that much to spend, I fully appreciate that. Pasco have also got what they call, this is called a smart cart. They call these the dumb carts because they don't have any sensors in. They do have a couple of magnets here that work with our magnetic end stops, and they can also magnet together with any other cart as well for like collisions. Or they can repel as well, depending on which way you've got the magnets. So these things are exactly the same form factor as these. So both will run along the track, nice and easy. And then I should have this nice picket fence that I've drawn a picture of here, which I thought I had in my cupboards, but I can't find for the life of me. So I've just made this awful interrupt card out of cardboard. And made it bang on 10 centimeters just to make the measurement nice and easy. But I will give you a full list in the notes of everything that you need to do this experiment. So I'm not going to do this right the way through just because it'd take too long, but you'd need like a super pulley on the end of the track to hang your weights off, and a mass and hanger set. You guys have probably already got this, so I won't give you the codes for this. I'll put the codes in anyway, just in case you want it. But this is like a setup of what we're going to do right now. Right, so I need to now pair my interface with my software. So if I come to Sparkvue, it won't take much longer this one, guys. If I come to sensor data, I need to come, I'll see if it's remembered that we're in England and we want the UK timing modes. Oh, my Bluetooth's really struggling today. Maybe that's having an off day like me as well. If it doesn't wait this time, I'll close it all down again and start again. Oh, it is angry at me. Sometimes it also doesn't work very well if you've not got good battery life. If it still struggles, I can always plug it in by USB. You You can also perform a hard reset on these things. So if they are monkeying around like this, you can press and hold the on-off button for 10 seconds, and then all the LEDs will flash, and that should help it on its way. I'll turn it off and on again, and if that doesn't work, we'll do the hard reset. Or it could be a hardware update issue. Oh, it is very mad at me, isn't it? Let's do the hard reset. Try it one more time. If it's not, I'm just going to plonk it in by USB just to save some time. Oh my goodness me, you are in a mood. Right, so what I've done now is I've just tethered it by USB so it can't get cross. So it can see the digital adapter. Oh no, have you just turned off on me? I shouldn't have dropped it on the floor, should I? This is probably just a reflection of the state of my rep stock, to be honest. Hasn't remembered this. It says it's on. So we are using 2 light gates and a single interrupt card. So my single interrupt card is my awful piece of cardboard that I've got on the card. So I am going to click, where's it gone? 2 light gates and a single interrupt card, and then press OK. And then I want it to give me time, speed, velocity, and acceleration from A to B. And then my length of card is 10 centimeters, so I need to change this to, where are you going? 0.01. So you'll see then I just had to give that ever so slight nudge, and then this thing's just off. Like, these carts have got really low friction wheels. So they are incredible in terms of minimising the friction in your experiment. Again, one of the reasons why they're quite expensive. Apart from this one's not bad. I think they go from about 30 quid, so depending on what budget you've got, yeah, we can sort you out with something. So let's go for a digits display again. So this is essentially exactly the same setup as the one that we had before, apart from now our gates are in like a horizontal plane rather than vertical. So I'm just going to press start again and then shove this thing through. Oh, is this A? Yeah, that's A. Oh, you know what? I can see it. Let me just make it a little bit lower just to make sure. So you can see my LEDs illuminating when the thing flashes through. Maybe it's not that obvious. It's quite a small video, isn't it? My acceleration isn't recording anything, I don't think. Let's try again. Oh, there we go. It worked that time. So remember, acceleration is a vector, so that's why it's giving me this minus sign here. It just means it's moving quicker through here than it's moving through this one. Let's trip over that, isn't it? Let's try again. I wonder if there is a problem with my Airlink. I'd like you to give me a sensible answer.
Nicola,
Yeah.
can I make a suggestion?
Yes, please.
Run the cart through slower.
Slower. Okay.
Yeah.
We'll try that, Steve. It's probably me rushing in it, trying to make sure we finish by 3. It's already 3. Let me plug this back in by USB again. Oh. Where's my digital adapter gone now? Might have to try another Airlink here, guys, if it's okay, so it knows that I've got this connected. It's not going to come up in my wireless devices because we've got it connected by USB. So 2 light gates and a single interrupt card. I want all of these, and my length of card is 0.01 meters. I want to tick all of these on. That's my digits display. And let's have another go. Plonk this down gently so it doesn't get mad at me. Do what Steve says and try it slowly. No, it's still cross, isn't it? I reckon it might be my Airlink. I wonder if I've got another one hanging around. Let's have a quick look. Oh, it's empty. No, I don't think I have. Wrap bags. I don't have another one to try. Oh, no, I do. It's down here. It's been hiding all along. Let's try this one. Is it charged? Yes, that's a rare occasion. Right, let's have a go with this one, guys. Might just be a dodgy piece of equipment. Let's hope it is. Let's come back to here, start new experiment. So everything that I'm using today is demo kit, so it has had a fair amount of abuse over the years, to be fair to it. Not my finest hour for tech issues today, is it? Wonder if it's my PC. Plug this one in. Oh, I'm trying to connect to it wirelessly now as well as being tethered. Right, okay, it's obviously cross at that. Right, digital adapter. Let's tell it that I'm using 2 gates and a single interrupt card. On, A to B, and this is 0.01. Done. Please work this time. And then come to digits. It worked for me earlier, so I don't quite know what's happening this time around. Let's press start. It's still really angry, isn't it? I must be doing something wrong. Definitely. Yeah. I don't know if it's just it's not pulling anything out for me there. How unusual.
Nicola, can I make another suggestion, lovely?
Yes, please.
Sorry to disturb you.
No, 2 minds of everyone.
No, seriously, this is one of the problems that we have with some of the air track experiments, with the things that we have with our students, is that the air on the track seems to be too high sometimes. The puck goes through, it goes through so fast it won't pick up. Oh. The other one we also get as well is look at your ambient lighting conditions. In some cases, if you've got direct sunlight coming into your lab and it's shining on your sensors, in some cases the detector can pick it up, and that's why you get really, really weird readings of it sometimes. So if that'll help with you.
I've opened my blind and we'll have a quick go.
And move your sensor really close to your card. That sometimes helps as well. It's a bit of a pain having to set it up, but it does work really well. We've used these since the 1980s, and they're bomb-proof. They're really reliable.
They normally are really reliable, aren't they? I can't believe it's being so angry at me. Oh, very unusual. It's definitely going through the gates because you can see these LEDs illuminating at the time. I don't know what's going on here, guys.
Can I make a suggestion?
Yes, please. The more the merrier.
I think because you haven't got a picket fence, it can't measure acceleration. It's only one on and off. You need to have the picket fence to get acceleration reading.
It should be able to do it just from, where's it gone, my equation? Just from this thing. So acceleration is velocity in the final gate, this one, minus velocity in the initial gate, which is this one, just divided by the time between the gates. So it should be able to do it.
Yeah, but you've got trying to measure acceleration straight off in Sparkvue.
Yeah, so that's how it measures it. Literally this equation, this measurement comes from where's it going again? This equation.
Okay.
That's where it gets it from. Yeah. So if I was doing it, for example, with this picket fence, I'd just be using that single interrupt card, that top part of the pyramid there. So it would be exactly the same experiment.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Good suggestion though. I'm kind of struggling a bit. Now I've got another digital adapter here. I can't remember which one was the first one I was blooming using. Let's try this one. Just to make sure it's not any of the kit that I've got. If anyone else wants to suggest while I'm being a drongo, please do please do feel free to chip in. Do you like gates in a single interrupt card? On. Let's try again. Definitely 10. Yeah, definitely 10 centimeters. Nope. More channel 1, channel 2. Okay. Try again. Done. Oh, not graph. Just make sure which gate's which. V. Yeah, okay. Right, okay, so I've triggered these now, so they might be not quite working in the right orientation. Let's have another go. I wonder if I need to go the other way through, and that's... Nope. Oh, I'm stumped on this one, guys.
Also, because you haven't got a weight on it, you're not actually going to accelerate through the gate.
Yeah, so it should give me an acceleration between the gates. It might just not be positive, for example, with it pulling it through. Unless my acceleration is so low that it's just not taking a reading. Is that really faint? Hello, someone trying to ask something on here, or? I can't hear you very well. Is it possible for you to turn your microphone up? Tilt the ramp so it accelerates. So yeah, depending on whether it's accelerating or decelerating, it should still definitely ping out a value here for me, and it's just it's not playing ball. But like I say, this is exactly the same experiment that we did before with the smart gates in a vertical orientation. It's just very cross at me for this one for some reason. Oh, you might have fixed it. Maybe it just wasn't accelerating at all. Oh my goodness, do you know what? If that was it, I feel very stupid. Let's have another go. Yeah, maybe it's oh, do you know why, guys? Because look, my velocity in A and my velocity of B is exactly the same blooming thing. So when you do one minus the other, obviously it's going to be 0, regardless of what you divide it by. So is that someone again? Yeah, I'm really sorry. I'm really struggling to hear you. It's coming through really low on my speakers. Do you want to type what you're trying to say in the chat box? I'll be able to understand. It's just in this conversation panel here. Can't believe that took us so long to troubleshoot. It was my fault entirely. What an absolute banana. Yeah, okay, so obviously when my velocity in A and B are different, then, you know, it's going to actually do the maths and we're going to get a value here. I must have somehow had a magic touch that made velocity in A and B somehow identically the same. It should be 0.1 centimetres. So I think you're talking about the flag length. So in the flag length, when you configure it in the settings, it's actually in meters. So this is 10 centimeters, which is 1/10 of a meter. So 0.1 meters. That's right. Yeah, that's the one. Well, honestly, guys, I feel like such a banana for taking so long working that one out. I'm going to blame baby brain. That's a valid excuse, right? But yeah, there we go. So it does work fine. It's just me being an absolute numpty. But yeah, again, if you wanted it just in a single display, you can just have this reading on its own. Or if you wanted them to use V-U/T, you can get these 3 on their own in a digits display as well. Right, so after like 15 minutes of troubleshooting, I think we are now at a natural end. So yeah, if anyone's got any questions, or if anyone just wants to laugh at me, then please do feel free to come off mute and ask away. Or if you want to see anything else with these, then yeah, just. Can
I just ask you, Nicola? You
yeah,
said about setting it to UK timing to enable everything.
Yeah.
Is that going to muck things up badly because I'm based in Belgium?
Oh,
and we buy the Pasco equipment through our Belgium suppliers?
I don't think so. So I think the UK timing modes are accessible anywhere in the world. I think it's just something that Pasco have written into the software. I think it's a bit too difficult for them to.
Okay, so if I do that and we're using Sparkvue, I'm just concerned that Sparkvue is going to be on a device that's set at CET time, and then we're going to enable UK time. Is that going to throw a big spanner in the works?
Oh, okay. So no, it's got absolutely nothing to do with the like time zone that you're in. It's literally just it's going to give you accessibility to those extra measurements that it can take.
Okay,
that's
right,
all it
that's
is.
all right.
Yeah, it won't cause any problems like that.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Is there anything else that anyone wants to see while we're here?
Well done, Nicola. Lovely to see different ways that different people are doing their different types of measurement and using the different types of Pasco equipment. Yeah, I know how you feel. I've been there myself, and it's a bit frustrating, especially when you get a class full of students and you're trying to fix up something that goes wrong. So, yeah, well done on that. Absolutely brilliant. It's lovely to see how the different Pasco facilities are like, and incredibly good strong, reliable products and superb after-sales service. So big thumbs up for you guys for what you do. Really chuffed with the product.
Oh, thanks, Steve. That's lovely to hear you say. Yeah, it is embarrassing, isn't it, when you got everyone watching you and you can't quite figure out what's going wrong, but at least it was just user error. It was absolutely nothing to do with the kit. It was just me being an idiot. Not the first time, definitely won't be the last time.
Hi, Nicola. Philip here.
Hello, Philip Russell. How are you?
Oh, all right. Thank you. One of the things that you get on both the Sparkvue and the capstones, when you do that gradient, you get the y equals mx plus b.
Yeah.
Well, since they do some things for you, do you reckon they could chop the top of the b off and make it into a c?
So yeah, I don't know where they get that b from. I guess it must just be the notation in the States.
Yeah, it's the way they do it in the States, but yeah, would that be a request we could put in? You know, we live in England and we use the little c instead.
Yeah, so I think when we were talking about those UK timing modes, I think it's too difficult for them to introduce like regional variations. Do you know what I mean? Like they can't just turn it on as automatic for a particular like global area. But I guess there could be something where you could click it a bit like the enable UK timing modes in Sparkvue. If you really wanted it to be like that, I could certainly ask for them to put in an option for them to do that.
Yeah, and the other thing I noticed that on the black one that I've got the double black one.
You've got the normal wired SmartGate.
The normal wired SmartGate. Yeah, I bought it a few weeks before they brought out the white one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's the story of my life. But it actually doesn't have a thing you can connect it to the vertical stand.
Oh, did it not come with one of those?
No.
Oh.
So I was going to ask you how you did. I've got another a black bit sticking out that I usually manage to do it, or what we normally do is just hold it in retort stands.
Yeah, so
clamps.
Just use one of those what they call like boss and clamp things.
Yeah.
Absolutely fine. If you've not got one of these little.
No, they don't. They obviously don't come with those.
How funny! I thought everyone did. I've got loads of these, Philip. So have you just got the one SmartGate?
I have got the SmartGate and its friend.
And it's.
I've got the one with the wire as well. So I've got
the little skinny one.
I've got one of each.
Right. Okay. So I will send you a couple of those in the post. I'm sure I've got a few in this bag of tricks of mine. Yeah, I've got plenty. Honestly, yeah, I'll pop a couple of these in the post for you, Philip, for free. With the screws, so you'll be all sorted with those.
Oh, thank you.
They are quite small, these holes in here, and they are designed to go on this like accessory photo gate. So
yeah, well, I'll send you an order in a bit.
Okay. No problem. Yeah, I'll get these.
The other one is that on the track that you had, that you can raise it up, can't you? On some funny things, except of course they don't fit the UK retort stands.
Yeah, so let's just show everyone what you're talking about. What's it called?
That would how you should have been doing your acceleration rather than lifting it up.
Yeah.
Especially in your condition, yeah.
Well, yeah, I know. I might do a webinar on our force plates next week, which would involve me jumping up and down. So maybe that's not the best idea, but we'll see. Aluminium dynamics track. I want, for example, this one. So yeah, with our what they're called smart cart dynamic systems, it does come with this little extra. What's it called? Is it on here? No, it's not. I don't think it lists it. Oh, it's that pivot clamp. That's what it is.
Yeah, I've got the pivot clamps. I bought them, and then I put them on some ordinary retort stands, and they're just too big. They're obviously American when
There will be an imperial measurement. Yeah, it might be a pain. I can't find the exact page for that thing. Maybe it's just an accessory rather than a product in itself.
Yeah.
But I can find out exactly what diameter that should fit and give you an idea.
Well, I had a nice chat with Pasco, and what I made was I made this. I've got the fan cart, and I made the 3D printed little thing that goes on top, so you can change the angle a bit, and trying to get the screw to fit, and discovered it's the only screw that Pasco make that's in metric. All the others are imperial.
Oh, really? They've actually got a metric screw? I never knew that.
Yeah. Yeah, so on the smart cart, the top screw is an M5, I have now discovered, whereas everything else is imperial. There we are. A bit of useless information if anyone requires it.
It's all useful stuff, I'm sure. It's all very useful. Let me make a note to myself to send you a couple of them things before I forget.
Oh, I can drop you an email if you like.
Oh, don't worry. I mean, how scatterbrained I am at the moment, Philip. It's probably might be worthwhile doing both. Lovely. Is there anything else that I can help anyone with while we're all still on? Is everyone on half term next week? Is that how it works? I know some people are this week, but I guess is it uniform for everyone next week?
Yeah, it must be because it's the weekends of the bank holidays.
Right. Okay. Yeah, it's 4-day weekend this weekend, isn't it?
For some of us.
Yeah.
For some of us.
We don't start ours till next week. We don't get Good Friday as a bank holiday.
Oh my word! Why not?
So I'm in work tomorrow.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Oh, unlucky.
So am I. Yeah.
Lots of Belgian days. They love a good bank holiday, so we have them randomly all over the years.
All right. You'll be eating the best chocolate though available, won't you?
Except I gave it up for Lent, so I haven't had any for 40 days, nearly. Well, 38 and counting.
Oh my word! Well done, you. That's amazing. I used to be able to do that, give up chocolate, but I can't at the moment. It's too delicious.
Especially in Belgium, it is good.
Yeah, I bet.
Are there any differences? You play with Sparkvue. Any differences on Capstone? You said there were a few extra bits on Capstone with the smart gates.
If you're interested, Philip, we can have a quick look. See if I can remember how to do it. So yes, that laser switch that I was on about, I think that's only available in Capstone. So it's for our our more involved users, should we say. So let's go to hardware setup. You can see that I've got my Airlink connected. It can see that I've got my digital adapter, but it doesn't know what I've got plugged into it. It's not that sensible. So we need to right click on these things and tell it that I've got photo gates in there. There we go.
Now mine comes up with a picture of 3 little things, and on 2 of them, it's number 2 and number 3, it actually says picket fence, and for the life of me, I usually find out eventually one of them works and the other one doesn't. And
what,
that's simply because I'm not clever enough to remember each time. Yeah, that's because I've got the double photo gate, the smart gate as it's called.
Right, okay.
And when you click on that little picture and the smart gate comes up at the bottom, I've got 3 numbers that come up. Now, if you connected the wireless one, would that have the 3? Sorry, I'm messing around.
No, not at all. We might as well do it with the kit that the closest kit that you've got available to you.
Yeah, well, you know that usually happens that you say, oh yeah, okay, and I'll go and buy one, don't I? So, or more.
So I want to connect to this Smart gate, have I turned it on for a start? Yes, perfect. I see my Bluetooth working fine in here. I don't know what's quite going on before.
That's it. You see, you've got the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah.
So this one up here is that ticker timer slot for your ticker tape. This one is for plugging in a photo gate, and then this one is that laser switch we were talking about. So I think all you've got to do is, oh, it just says remove interface. All right. Or maybe you just click it just to say which one you're going to be using. I haven't actually had to go with this laser switch. I've always wanted to. It always sounds very interesting, but I've never actually had a go with it. Have you?
Yeah. I do it with kids running through, and because I use the motion sensor and I pretend they're the smart cart, and I use this and I get them to run through, and they think it's much more fun them being the smart cart than using a smart cart.
100%, I bet they do. It's always fun to get a measurement from you as a person. It makes it much more interesting. Pasco do a whole range of like physiology sensors and biomechanics sensors, and I find them really interesting because it's actually you that's producing the data. It's not my field of expertise at all, but I'm just in love with it.
There we are. On one, you see you've got a picket fence, and then if you click on 3, you've got a picket fence. And I never know which one.
Interesting. So yeah, I think this is just, you'd click this one if you were using the ticker tape, if you're actually pushing something through that slot, which I assume you're not, because I don't think that's very well used in the UK. So if you're using a picket fence, using your 2 light gates, using that accessory, using that photogate head plugged into here, I'd always plonk it on that one, I reckon.
So that is just using proper ticker tape, going through a ticker tape timer, making the dots and going through, is it?
Yeah, that's it.
Well, I'll have to have a go. I've got one of those.
Have you got some ticker tape?
Yeah, I had it before they invented this stuff.
Oh, yeah, have a go with it, Philip.
I got a real one, you know.
Have a go with it. Let me know. Post on Twitter how you get on with it, because I've not seen it used with this before.
Oh, I'll have a go, yeah. Give me something to do.
We've got another guy at Charterhouse who he like trains other teachers in his local area, and he wanted to have a go at it, but I didn't have any ticker tape to send him. I think he was doing it like the next day, so it was like a quick thing that he needed some quickly, and we just didn't have any in stock. So like I say, it's not really a popular line anymore because everyone just uses normal light gates and different interrupt cards. They don't really tend to use ticker tape anymore.
Yeah, I find you do that with the students and they have to cut it up into 10 dot lengths and they stick it in their book and they seem to really understand how it works. We never do it again, you know, they just do it the once.
Yeah.
But, and you say, and now we'll do it the modern way, and they go, oh yeah, that's great. But they got the idea of what it really was, and they can see it. They can see the dots getting further apart. They can say, oh look, it's accelerating.
Ah, that's good. That's what the main thing is, isn't it? Just finding a way that they understand the best and then just working with that.
Right, so I totally interrupted you when you were going to tell me about these extra bits.
Oh yeah, don't worry. So all I've done is I've just plugged this photogate head into this auxiliary port on the wireless smart gate, and then I've right clicked on number 3 on that auxiliary port and just told it that I've plugged a photogate into it, because these are all the different things that you can plug into it, and I've not plugged in any of them. So we'll go with the photogate, and then we come to timer setup. You've got Capstone, haven't you, Philip?
2 of them, yeah.
2 of them, my goodness.
I can't play with both at the same time, but yeah.
Right, so we are gonna press that new timer little button, and then press. Let's build our own. Why not?
I'm glad you're recording this. I'm going to be watching this several times again. Make sure I get this right. This causes me a headache.
Let's have a look. 837. So this must be these. What have I actually got connected? I think Yeah, it's all right. So I'm not quite sure what these other two are, unless that's. Let me come out of here, Philip, just to make sure I've definitely only just got this one connected. I should only really be seeing 3 gates, I think, and it was showing me about 9. I've got nothing else plugged in my PC. Is this on? Yeah. Oh, someone wanting to come in. Oh, now my Bluetooth's gone again. Right, so here's my smart gate, and I want to tell it that I've got a photo gate in there. Right, timer set up. A new one. Come to build my own. Okay, so now I've only got 3 channels, which is exactly what I should have, because I've got this, which has got 2 gates in there. Let's take this out of here. And just the 1 gate that's in here. So I think I still have my AirLink plugged in before, which is why it was getting an extra 2 gates when it shouldn't have got them. So I just need to click which gates I actually want to use in my timing mode. So we've got. Let's click them all just so we've got access to them all, and let's have a look what we can do with them. Oh. I can't really remember what I'm doing here, Philip, if I'm completely honest. So I think what this wants me to do is say what state I want each of these beams in for it to pull something out with. So, for example, if I want the first one to be blocked and then this one to be unblocked.
Yeah, so if you want an interrupt, you want it to start timing when it blocks, don't you?
Yeah.
Now, am I guessing channel 1, 1 and 1, 2 are the 2 on the same photo gate?
I would assume so, yeah. And then that's going to be channel 3.
So we know that distance, that's that defined distance, which I've never bothered to change on the thing, because
I think it's 1.5 centimeters, yeah.
Something like that. And then the other one's whatever distance you're going to put the second photo gate at.
Yeah, that'll be it. The distance between the second one here and this one, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm making this too complicated by having 3 on there. Let's just run through it and see what happens. Will it let me? Specify. Call it test.
And the timing sequence is going to be when they're unblocked.
Yeah, I wonder if I'm making this too complicated by having 2 on there. Let's go for those 2. One and 3. When that one gets blocked and then when the next one gets blocked. Let's just try that one as a test. Is it saving for me? Test. Right, and then how do I call that up again? Let's have a go. Test. And then if I hit record, let's have a go. Can I hold these things up? Oh, I have just blocked both of them. It's not done anything. Oh, it's pulling something out.
Yeah.
So I think what that's timing now is the time it takes for one of the beams to be blocked until the next one gets blocked.
Yeah.
Right.
We would do it, and if you knew the distance, then you could work out the time. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll show you what pre-configured timer is. I don't think I've been in that other setting before. Let's have a go in here.
I usually use pre-configured timer because it works.
Yeah. We'll move. Yeah, that's fine. There is a way that you can get it to just pull out beam state as well. I've definitely been in there before. I can't quite remember how to get there. Maybe if it's just if I just have the one connected. Let's have a quick go at that. It's one of them things that you can never remember how to do on the fly. Let's turn this thing off.
Well, I'm sorry, you weren't expecting me to ask you silly questions, you know. Sort of.
No, don't worry. The software's normally it's kind of intuitive, isn't it? So you can kind of work it out on the fly. And I'm sure I have done it before. It's just remembering how to get there. So what I've done is I've plugged in my Airlink digital adapter just with this one simple photo gate, which is in channel 1. Let's go one photo gate, simple flag and state. Here we go, state. That's what I was looking for. And flag width, let's just use my finger, which is about, gosh, a centimetre, probably fatter. Next, call it that. And then what can I pull out from there? Here we go. I love Capstone because you can just drag these around willy-nilly and you can have them whatever size you want. Sparkvue's a bit more rigid, isn't it?
Yeah.
So we've got state, timing gate, and what else can this one see? Speed. Oh. Hello. Why is it angry at me? It's not saved it properly. Flag width. Everything looks all right to me. I hope it's not on. The LED's not working. Hey, by gum. You can definitely see it, can't it? It's in channel 1. Yeah. How peculiar.
You got something when you put it down.
Oh, do you know what? I was
the wrong gate.
It isn't plugged into anything.
Yeah.
What am I doing? Jeez Louise. Right. So run my finger through here then. Right, okay, so can you see the state?
Yes,
it's saying like
state is just
so that's
1 to 0, yeah.
That's like digital readout of it being on or off, which is handy. I love that you can do that. So have you got a code node, Philip?
Yes.
So this might be really handy if you want to use something with the code node and just have it seeing whether something's present or isn't present, or like you want the period of something oscillating. It might be really useful for that. But yeah, that's why it gives you the state in there anyway. But no, yeah, I need to have a bit of a better play around with these ones. I can't remember what else you could do it from. It was literally just blocked or unblocked, wasn't it? So have you got any idea of what you might want to use them for?
Oh no, I start getting you to play with things, and then that gives me lots of ideas that I can actually do. See?
Yeah, it's just blocked or unblocked. So I mean, you could have any configuration of those. Yeah. I guess the nice thing about this is that it kind of turns this from being a black box into something that your students can really experiment with. And I guess now they've got the power to be able to do those timing modes, it kind of makes them really understand exactly what measurement that device is taking, rather than it just pinging out a value and then them just taking that for granted. I guess that's the nice thing about it. And that's why these things are so expensive in comparison to like the really cheapy ones on the market, because you can fully configure them. It's kind of like a very desirable thing to be able to do, I think.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the added flexibility that that Capstone will give you. In a nutshell.
Thank you. Yeah.
You're very welcome. we've still got quite a few people on here. I always worry that people just wander away from the PCs because they're bored of me. Is there anything else that anyone wants to ask while we're here? A definite silence.
Shows you've done a very good job. Thank you very much for your effort.
Thank you for attending, Philip. It's always lovely to have some customer contact while we're all stuck at home.
And I don't mind when you go wrong, because it makes me feel an awful lot better, because when I'm doing mine, I also find that things don't work. Like I plug the air link in, and that's the one that, you know, the battery's just gone down on.
Yeah. It makes it more real, right? You have to do some troubleshooting on the fly.
Yeah, but it's good stuff. I like the kit, and I'm gradually getting more and more of it. As you saw in my tweet, what do you do when you run out of boxes? Do you get rid of your capstone stuff and all the Pasco stuff, or you just buy more boxes? So that's what I've done.
I bet you've probably got the most really useful boxes in the world, to be honest, after seeing your collection. And when you said you had a lot, I didn't realise you meant you had that many.
Yeah, but I have a very tolerant wife. She seems to accept my lounge is the prep room, which is why, of course, I'll be working tomorrow and Easter Monday, because having a sort of a small private school, I work when the kids aren't at school.
Yeah, that makes sense. Has someone got the hand up? Can I help with anything? Oh, here we go. Sorry, I didn't see this one. Does Pasco provide libraries like Picoscope does? So the only way that you can use Pasco sensors with your own programs, the only way that you can kind of hack into them is by using our older Science Workshop sensors. So let me show you what I mean by that. So we've got 3 different types of sensors. These are the newest Bluetooth ones. There's no way that you can hack into that Bluetooth signal. And then we've got these digital ones with these like digital adapters here. Again, you can't hack into those, but these ones, our analog sensors, our Science Workshop sensors, they come with like, I think it's 5 or 8 pin DIN lead connectors. So with these ones, for example, I think Bath University used these high sensitivity light sensors, and then on the end, it's just got that 8 pin DIN lead, and then we can provide you with the pin outs for those. So for example, we can tell you which is like plus and minus. I think it's either 5 or 15 volts, can't remember off the top of my head. And we can also give you the V out, which pin that is, and then what you'd have to do is monitor that voltage coming out of that pin, calibrate it yourself, and then you'd be able to use it in your own software. So that's typically a question that we get asked a lot at HE level, not so much at secondary level, but it is possible to do it with these sensors, with our Science Workshop sensors. But yeah, just be aware that maybe the range that we've got in these black ones, it's not quite as extensive as what you might find in the other ranges. But we've got things like sound, pressure. We've also got these analog Elvis adapters. So what you'd do is you'd plug this, you'd plug your DIN lead straight into this, which you could then connect to your Elvis board, I think it is, and then it makes it compatible with LabVIEW. Is it LabVIEW? I think it, yeah, National Instruments, yeah. So that is, I think it's quite an expensive way to go down for National Instruments, but it's definitely available. That's like a quicker way to get that, rather than just using the pin out. That'll do all of that business for you. But yes, it is possible. I hope that answers your question. Perfect. if you want me to follow up by sending you any of the pinouts, just let me know and I'll rummage them out for you. It used to be freely available on the website, but I think they've hidden that page now for some reason. Tried to find it the other day for someone and I couldn't find it. Now I've got the big job of tidying everything back up, trying to fit everything back in my cupboards. Oh, thank you very much. Lovely to see everybody. Hope you all have a very nice Easter. No need, I have none of those. Okay, no problem. Have a happy Easter, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Philip. Nice to see you.